Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Water competition, food price spikes and the death of beach culture. Climate change warning for Aussies as the world's climate warms 1°C to 2°C. Some of the changes Australians can expect are an increase in food prices, competition for water amid shortages, and more prevalent floods, fires and deadly heatwaves. That is the warning from two leading climate scientists, who spoke to 9news.com.au ahead of Earth Day 2022. Mark Howden, Director of the Institute for Climate, Energy and Disaster Solutions at the Australian National University, said at this point a temperature increase of 1.5 Celsius is very likely by the 2030s. This is backed up by the most recent Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, report, which found climate change is widespread, rapid, and intensifying globally. There be systemic effects right across Australia, in almost every aspect of Australian life, Professor Howden said, explaining water and food shortages are just two impacts that will be felt. Whether that is agriculture and food, which is already being impacted negatively, that will become much more problematic and much more variable. We've already seen, on average, a reduction of profitability of 20% when it comes to agriculture due to climate change. That is likely to continue. Similarly with water, we've already seen very substantial reduction in river flows in the southeast and the southwest of the country, and those are likely to continue, increasing the competition for water. Climate scientist and distinguished professor of biology at Macquarie University, Lesley Hughes, supports Professor Howden's stance and said at this point there is no ecosystem in Australia unaffected by climate change. Experts said Australians may have to adapt their living conditions by building walls to keep the sea from damaging their homes or by moving away from the coastline entirely. In terms of wildlife, one often overlooked species serves as a canary in the coal mine, Professor Hughes said. The need to hibernate in winter and snow, ironically, keeps them warm. It also protects them from predation. Professor Hughes said the native marsupials have also lost one of their main food sources, the bogong moth, a migratory species also impacted by a changing climate. There was a real crash in the population due to drought in Queensland, she said. That is where caterpillars turn into moths before migrating to the snowy mountains. When the species didn't arrive, one of the species that really suffered was the mountain pygmy possum, Professor Hughes said. That is just one example how the impact of climate change on one species, even a long way away, a drought in Queensland, then impacted enough species a state away. There are species in virtually every ecosystem that you can think of that are being affected in one way or another. Heatwaves kill more people than any other climate-related disaster in Australia, Professor Hughes said. And there is good modelling to suggest that by the middle of this century, if we keep going the way we are going, we will get hundreds of people dying from effects of extreme heat. Between 2000 and 2018 there were 473 heatwave-related deaths reported, a 2022 analysis of Australian coronial records found. We're likely to see a really significant increase in heat stress events, he said. This can cause reduction in labour productivity as well as health impacts. While Australia has committed to net zero emissions by 2050, many have criticised the nation's plan to get there, with some claiming it is all spin, and no action. The plan, revealed in October last year, was described by Prime Minister Scott Morrison as a middle course between climate debate extremes. Technology not taxes expand choices not mandates drive down the cost of a range of new technologies keep energy prices down with affordable and reliable power and be accountable for progress. We need a government that takes climate change seriously, she said. We've got to stop treating climate change as a political issue that can be managed with political spin and minimalist action. Professor Howden said Australia needs to start reducing emissions now and work to a 2030 target, which he claims is more important than a 2051 given how fast the planet is warming. Climate change is here and now, it is impacting on Australia badly and it is only going to get worse, he said. Most Australians realise that, but there is a big gap between what Australians want and what they're getting from political systems.